Okay, I'd like to call the BFT committee to begin. In attendance is, wait, do we need to do the invocation first? Okay, before we begin, because it was a special board meeting, we do have to do another invocation and pledge to begin the committee meetings. Mr. Lagarde, would you please?
Of course. Lord, support each of us in this meeting. We ask your divine help in the difficult task of representing the wishes of others. The issues we address tonight are many, and the solutions may not always be easy. Dear God, help us as we serve Terrebonne Parish School System as elected officials. Be with us tonight and forever. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Lagarde. In attendance tonight, myself as chair to the committee, Vice Chair Mr. Lagarde, and Dr. Trahan as member, along with Dr. Cloche, Ms. Benoit, Mr. Ford, Mr. DeHart, and Mr. Crowdis. Also in attendance, Superintendent Ogeron and members of his staff. Renewal of an agreement between Terrebonne Parish School Board and Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government, Head Start, Ms. Diane Powell. The committee recommends that the board approve and accept the renewal of an agreement between Terrebonne Parish School Board and Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government relative to the Head Start program for the preparation of meals at Legion Park Elementary, Schriever Elementary, South Down Elementary Schools, cooking sites for the 2024-2025 school year, and further authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto.
So moved.
This is committee.
Give her a heart attack.
Oh, okay.
So moved.
Causing trouble.
Hey, Mr. DeHart.
Yeah.
Moved by Mr.
Keep
Dr.
smiling.
Trahan. Okay, be quiet, Mr. D. Second by Mr. Lagarde. Public comments. Welcome again, Ms. Diane.
Thank
Always
you.
good to see you.
It's nice to be here. Thank you for your...
Don't worry about
No,
it.
no, we're good.
Hey,
Okay.
Mr. DeHart, I
That's
can
where you're
retire in
wrong.
October. I want to mentally prepare yourself for it.
no,
I'm not
Oh,
going
no.
to, but
okay.
You're retiring?
no, I can.
Oh,
No, we're not letting you do that. And for the record, I've always supported that program. I just like
Absolutely.
different locations and more locations.
right. You're right.
So
I'm
would
getting
I.
greedy.
So if you would like to just elaborate quickly.
It's our normal agreement with the food service through school board to get breakfast, lunch, and an afternoon snack. We go to the elementary schools, pick up, deliver, serve at my centers.
Right, good.
It's awesome.
And we really do appreciate all what you do.
Oh, you're very
Really
kind.
do.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. I know he picks on you, but he means well.
No.
I know he does.
That's right.
Dr. Trahan, anything?
Don't
No, I
listen to nothing he
appreciate
says.
everything you
Thank
do.
you, ma'am.
A lot of parents that call me about Head Start, and it's always positive.
Yep.
Well, I appreciate that.
Very good. Mr. Lagarde?
Good, Diane, how you doing? I appreciate everything you do. How long it's been?
23 years
I
in
remember
September.
when you got hired.
Yeah,
we worked
I wasn't as
together.
great.
Man, time flew by.
It has.
I remember when
It
you
has.
first started.
My kids are grown and gone. Good to go.
Okay, I remember it was young and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Okay, but nice to see you again.
Nice seeing
But
you,
Thank
Mike.
you for everything you do with Head Start. I know it's a wonderful program.
We try.
It's, sometimes it's hard with the parents like we have, but it's a great program, and thank you, Diane, for
Thank you.
everything.
Appreciate it.
Mr. DeHart? I didn't even have to
I'm
look.
never gonna give up. I still would love to see some more locations because
Yes, sir.
so many kids is helped with your program. That's why I keep asking for the same
No,
thing.
absolutely.
I'm
I
never gonna
agree.
give up on that.
I
But the
agree.
program is great, and if I could ever help in any way, I'd be happy to.
I appreciate your support.
I know. I'm just saying, but I want other people here to understand.
Yes, sir.
I just want more locations.
More. So
Yes,
do I.
ma'am. More. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Ford?
Ms. Powell, who do you report to in the in the parish?
Kelly Varnado, she's the director of the Housing Human Services
It's under
Department.
Housing and Human Services? Okay,
Yes,
that's what I want
sir.
to know, because we've talked about this before.
Yes.
You need to pay your guys better. I know there's
Well, I
always,
could come work for you all. Can I have that booklet and kind of,
you could look at mine if you want.
no,
But
I
I
do middle,
think,
so I'm good.
I think your program could continue to grow if you had better qualified or more qualified or just more applicants. and if the pay was a little bit better. So I'm gonna reach out and
Well, I would
suggest that
appreciate that.
they
Just,
reevaluate
we
that.
did speak a month or so ago, and I am fully staffed now.
Oh,
It's
good
very
deal.
difficult to get the degree requirements. I never had the problem I've had since COVID and the storm. But we're doing what we have to do to provide the quality preschool programming.
So if the parish were to pay them a little bit more, it would be easier to retain, maybe? Some retention?
That's not really what I believe the problem is, because
Okay.
Head Start does give us enough
Stipend.
money to, as an example, an assistant teacher who might just be, and no offense to people who work in childcare, they may be making $8 an hour, no benefits, less than 40 hours. I'm able to start that same person, it's a walk-in job, $13 an hour with health benefits, et cetera, and it's a 12-month program, 40 hours a week. So they can start off the bat making $27,000, and then I push them to get their degrees.
So do you guys sign contracts like the teachers do in
No.
our district? No?
No,
Okay.
thank goodness.
So,
It's hard.
yeah, so if you found someone that wasn't working out for you, you could just, okay.
Train them up, train them out. Sorry, I just said that.
Yep.
It's not a job for everybody.
Oh, of
It's
course.
not a job for everybody. I've had people last a day because they thought it was cool, but it's hard work. Kids cry, there's stuff that comes out of them. And then you gotta sing and dance and teach. It's
It's the greatest show on earth.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Any other board members? Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes.
Thank
Thank you
you
very
all.
much.
Good night.
Good night. Number 4, Mr. Houston Lerat, consideration of approval of substantial completion of the building repair project at Berg Elementary, or Mr. Positary. The committee recommends that the board approve and accept the substantial completion dated May 23rd, 2024 for the building repair project at Berg Elementary School, subject to the punch list. Upon completion of the punch list and final inspection, balancing change order and receipt of the lien-free certificate, authorize the release of retainage, and further authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto. So move, Mr. Lagarde. Second, Dr. Traham. Any public comments? Mr. Positary, how are you again, sir?
I'm good. Good evening, everyone. Houston's out this week, so I'll attempt to fill in. But yeah, this project was completed back in May, as the motion indicates. The punch list that was actually prepared has all been completed as well. So all of the remaining items that were outstanding as of the end of May have been completed. Contractor, as of yesterday, is tracking down one little warranty item. There's a small little roof leak on a dormer, so we're aware of that. And have notified the contractor. So we'll continue, of course, to monitor any warranty items that may come up over the next 12 months throughout the warranty period. So other than that, I'm happy to attempt to answer any questions that you may have.
Well, obviously, it's a good thing when we read this, right?
Yes,
You know,
sir.
It's done, so we appreciate all your hard work. Mr. Lagarde, anything? Dr. Traham? Nope. Any other board members? Any objections?
Thank
Motion
you.
passes. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Number 5, that would be Mr. Poisson. Well, you were early. Consideration of approval of notice to proceed for the H.L. Bourgeois High School Competition Gym Renovation Project. The committee recommends that the board issue a notice to proceed as per contractual agreement to AQ Studios LLC for plans and specification for the H.L. Bourgeois High School Competition Gym Renovation Project. Establish a budget of the amount of $325,000. Funds to be derived from the BFT committee, the building fund, Authorize the advertising of bids and further authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto. So move, Dr. Traham. Second, Mr. Lagarde. Public comments? Mr. Poisson?
Yeah, these, we're gonna be updating the gym there. We have AQ Studios, Mr. Chad Abel. I wanted to introduce him to y'all, he'll be a familiar face we'll be dealing with. It's a new face that we're we're trying, and just want him to come and introduce himself, and y'all can meet him.
All right, thank you.
Just tell him your name and where you're
Good. Chad Abel, from Lafayette. We have offices in Lafayette and New Orleans. Very happy to be here to help you guys with this project. It's not very complicated. It really ought to just be able to spruce up the gym and work with Mr. Sam.
And Chad, you've done gym projects before, right?
Oh, yeah,
That's something that you've
a
done.
big part of our firm is, we specialize in education. We're building a new high school for Lafayette High right now. We did Southside High School, BO Elementary in Lafayette Parish. That's just the ones I can think of in Lafayette Parish. But we do lots of maintenance and different types of gym and additions, classroom additions, that sort of things. Cafeterias, all of that.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Abel. So the gym will be ready come August, right?
It is ready.
August what year, right? Yeah, I just thought I'd throw that at you. Dr. Tron?
But
anything?
that is, August 25 would be.
Oh, that, we are looking at that, okay, all right, fantastic. Mr. Lagarde, any other board members? Yes, Mr. Ford?
So H.L. Bourgeois Gym has a lot of history, and it's got a lot of personality. There's a giant mural on the wall painted by Jared Prejean. He's class of '94. He's a friend of mine from school together. There's also the flooring that has the Braves and the mascot. Are we going to be able to retain those images or something in their likeness? Because I've been hearing a lot of feedback about trying to do away with the H.L. Bourgeois mascot from various groups and special interest organizations. But the H.L. Bourgeois alum are vehemently against that. They are proud to be Braves. They are proud to be H.L. Bourgeois alum. They're proud to have the mascot of the Brave. And to my knowledge, there's never been a tribal organization or any special group like that that has come forth and said they're offended by that. And this is not to put this on your plate, Mr. Abel, but this is something that I think we need to consider and needs to be taken into consideration, especially when it comes to the redesigning of the gym and what we're going to do there. I have reached out to the administration at H.L. Bourgeois. I've reached out to some of the coaches, and they kind of danced around the question because I think they're afraid of any retribution or anything that may come back to them if they were to speak out. But I can speak freely about this, and it's something that the entire H.L. Bourgeois community feels strongly about, and we need to retain that caricature, that likeness, those special things about that gym that make it unique and make it home for several Braves out there.
Dr.
Comment or?
Do you want to answer that?
I can, unless you.
Yeah, go ahead.
So no intent to do anything with the mascot. Some of the decor within the gym, yes. It is random. There's a lot of hodgepodge signage, and we want to get a cohesive looking facility, not getting away from any mascot logos, emblems, or the Brave in particular. The court will have the Brave logo, the official school logo on the court. We're looking at just making everything kind of blend, including all the district banners. And it's random. You might have softball here, but when you go in schools that are well done, they're all concentrically placed banners that really have some calmness and some, that's what we're looking to achieve with this whole entire project. Is just a really nice, and even simple things like, I say simple, but if you go to South Terrebonne Gym, Jim Merlin did, one thing that he did is we painted the ceiling a matte black with new lighting. That changes the whole environment, just having the reflective light not hitting up on the ceiling. We want to do even that kind of thing in this project here. So as we're painting different areas, might as well, Mr. Chad just talked about that, and do some of the new LED lighting that'll kind of really update and spruce it up. So anyway, just want to kind of mention that.
Ms. Benoit?
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Chad, we've come up with a price, the 325,000. Do you have any visual schematics of what you plan to do in the gym?
We don't yet, but we will. We're really just now beginning that process. We were meeting with Sammy and Miss Allie Dugas about the timeline and the process. One of the things that we're trying to be real cautious of is this kind of projects, the budget, can fluctuate quite a bit just because you have one little additional piece in there. So we just want to be real careful with being able to be conscious of the budget and be able to put all that together. But yeah, we can.
So you didn't
prepare
come up
some-
with the budget. That's why I'm asking, because if you come up with a number, you figure you kind of know what you're doing.
Right.
You didn't come up with that number.
Well, we did. We worked with them. Right now, it's kind of an order of magnitude, and then we'll do as much scope as we can within that budget.
And you're going to fit within that budget? Okay, thank you.
We do have a schematic of the floor.
Yeah, we just don't have,
That's where we're at.
Yeah, I mean, it'd just be nice to see what we're planning to do before we do it,
Sorry, back, Mr. Ford.
I do have one more question, and you guys probably expected me to ask this. The things that are in there that are being removed, are we gonna repurpose them some sort of way? Is that gonna go to maintenance warehouse and be reused, or?
If you're asking me, whatever we can, yes, sir.
Okay, see, Sammy's shaking his head no.
Well, it's not going to the maintenance warehouse, 'cause I
Okay.
don't have room.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Mr. Sammy, you have anything else?
Yeah, and we're in the infant stage of this right now. It's just all, I just wanted y'all to meeting,
Yep.
and we'll move on from there. It'll all come together. Thank y'all.
Good.
Thank you, sir.
Right,
Just make
any
sure
oth-
his passport don't expire.
Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Number 6, this would be Mr. Bruce.
Daniel is here, yes.
Daniel, yep, he's hiding. Consideration of approval of change order for the security improvement project at Oak Lawn Middle School. The committee recommends that the board approve and accept change order number 1 for the security improvement project at Oak Lawn Middle School in the amount of $26,200 to add 14 days to the contract, add walls and countertops, and remove, replace ceiling and lights in large administrative area, add walls to top of storefront, and remove, replace ceiling and lights in nurse's office, adjust plumbing in restrooms, and add, remove, replace ceiling and lights in SRO's office. Funds to be derived from the building fund, and further authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto. So move, Dr. Traha. Second, Mr. Lagarde. Public comments. Mr. Bruce, how are
It was a
you?
mouthful.
It is.
So we're basically expanding the project from the lobby area where we initially started, and then expanding it out into the areas that are basically adjacent to the lobby, the SRO's office to the right, the big admin office. We kind of chopped that up in half to create an ante area. Once you get beyond the lobby into an ante lobby to go speak face to face with someone, and then like a little conference room in the large open office that was there, some sort of a conference room planning area, whatnot for the school that's kind of separated from all of that work as well. So it's just an expansion of the initial scope.
So is that like right when you walk in, the front door? That's where that's
Yes.
going to be? Okay.
Well, when you walk in the front door, you'll be in the main lobby.
Okay.
Then you walk through, once you get processed through and talk to the person behind the glass,
Right.
you either go through to the left into admin area, or you go into the right through the corridors. And then once you get beyond to the left, is the old office area.
Right.
That was just a big open space now, so we kind of subdivided that to give it more useful purpose.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Dr. Traha?
No, sir, I'm just glad that we have Oak Lawn on the road.
Yep, absolutely. Mr. Lagarde? Other board members? Mr. D. Hart?
Just got a question, it's not on the agenda part what he read, but are you doing anything on the outside of the school?
No, sir, that's
Okay.
not in our scope.
I got a call this morning at 2 o'clock, it was pouring cement. I was just curious.
No, not.
Yeah.
That's
not
okay.
this-
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Any other board members? Any objections? There are none. Motion passes. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Oh, you
I'll
on the
just
next
stay
one
here.
too? Okay. So number 7, board members, you have an amended recommendation at your desk. So number 7 is consideration of approval for substantial completion of the site improvement for the modular project at Acadian Elementary School. The committee recommends that the board approve and accept the substantial completed date, July 16, 2024, for the site improvement for the modular project at Acadian Elementary School, and ratify change order number 1 in the amount of $3,167.01 to add intumescent coating and credit unused unit pricing, and increase contract time by 96 days from April 26, 2024 to July 31, 2024. Funds to be derived from FEMA reimbursement funds, $2,850.31, and local funds, $316.70, subject to the punch list. Upon completion of the punch list and final inspection, balancing change order, and receipt of the lien-free certificate, authorize the release of retainage, and further authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto. So move Dr. Traha, second Mr. Lagarde, public comments, and Mr. Bruce.
So we had the fire marshal inspection today. That's why it was a little late introduction of a revised recommendation. We didn't know if we would get there by today, but we got there. The fire marshals walked it. We've inspected it. We're good to go for the beginning of school.
Fantastic, great news.
Excellent.
Okay?
Really good, appreciate that. Did I go to y'all already? Dr. Traha, Mr. Lagarde? I did not? Okay.
We're good.
You good? You good? Dr. Clocher?
Yes, I see it's an increased contract time by 96 days, and just looking at the amount of money, and I'm looking at 96 days, and trying to figure that out. Maybe you could enlighten me.
So we go all the way back to the modular buildings. Were delayed by 30 days
Okay.
at the beginning of the project. And then the canopies did not arrive until June 20th on site. So that was, we had to extend our contract time. And we're actually finishing early because we're finishing as of today instead of July 31st. So it really would have only been 76 there.
Well, congratulations. Thank you.
Good.
I appreciate that.
Any other board members? Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Bruce. Are you on the next one too?
I don't think so.
The next one would be Steve Rome. Okay. Number 8, consideration of approval of substantial completion of the building repair project at Terrebonne High School. The committee recommends that the board approve and accept the substantial completion date, July 12, 2024, for the building repair project at Terrebonne High School, subject to the punch list. Upon completion of the punch list and final inspection, balancing change order, and receipt of the lien-free certificate, authorize the release of retainage, and further authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto. Moved by Dr. Traha, second Mr. Lagarde. Public comments? All right, sir, how are you?
2 weeks ago, we developed a punch list prior to the substantial completion with the general contractor. We did another walkthrough yesterday, and we're down to about a half a dozen items. So it's moving along well.
Very good, very good. Dr. Traha?
No, sir.
Mr. Lagarde?
No, sir.
Other board members? No. Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you, appreciate it. Number 9, this would be Robert Utley, Utley Engineers. Consideration of approval for substantial completion of the HVAC replacement upgrade project at Elysian Field Middle School. There you are, okay. The committee recommends that the board approve and accept the substantial completion dated June 24, 2024 for the HVAC replacement upgrade project at Elysian Fields Middle School, and ratify change order number 2 in a credit amount of $42,177. Subject to the punch list, and upon completion of the punch list and final inspection, balancing change order, and receipt of the lien-free certificate, authorize the release of retainage, and further authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto.
So moved.
Moved by Dr. Traha, second Mr. Lagarde. Public comments? Mr. Utley, how are you, sir?
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good.
Yes, we walked this with the fire marshal also, and we're good to go on it. He signed us off, and so they have some punch list items that are remaining that we need to get done. but nothing major. It's all minor stuff, picking up some garbage that's still out there, taking some brackets off the walls that are still on there from old equipment that's been removed, that kind of thing. But they're definitely through with everything except for the punch list item. Looks real good. We dressed up the corridors. If you go by there, they look like it's a brand-new area now. The school is much better served by the HVAC systems that have been put in there. We do have some funds that were available to be given back as credit on this job. So, any questions?
That's great. I mean, again, I love to read completion and then plus getting money back. That's a great thing, right? Always. Dr. Trahan? Mr. Lagarde? Any other board members? Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you, sir. Oh, the
Yes,
next one too. All right. Number 10, consideration of approval for substantial completion of the HVAC replacement upgrade project at Oak Lawn Middle School. The committee recommends that the board approve and accept the substantial completion dated June 26, 2024 for the HVAC replacement upgrade project at Oak Lawn Middle School and ratify change order number 4 in a credit amount of $25,749.50. Subject to the punch list, upon completion of the punch list and final inspection, balancing change order, and receipt of the lien-free certificate, authorize the release of retainage and further authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto. So move Dr. Trahan, second Mr. Lagarde. Public comments? Mr. Utley?
Yes, the contractors, is a large project at Oak Lawn. All buildings have had the HVAC systems changed in them. With the scope of the work, they are substantially complete considering the amount of what's left to do. They are finishing up on the kitchen hood at this point and getting that redone, which was a change order to include that in the work. We do have a meeting on that tomorrow. I've been there for the past 2 days. They tell me they'll be through with that by the end of next week is when they expect to be completely done with everything except for punch list items.
Like the kitchen stuff, Robert?
Yes, sir.
Very good.
We have no choice, right?
Kind of, yes, sir. It was quite a bit of work. They had some, they were having some issues with getting hold of their trench drains that we put in, which was for safety issue for the staff there to get in those. It allows for disposing of some stuff without having them having to handle it. It's to be able to dump it into a trench drain. And then there was, they've had some issues with some of the roof, and they've remobilized to get the roof done over that area. That group did a real good coordination work there, and they've got it. So they've been up in there welding and finishing that ductwork off today. So, but they say that they should be through by next week, is what they're expected. And we'll be having them pinned down on that again tomorrow in another meeting.
Good news. Dr. Trahan?
Any questions on this one?
Mr. Lagarde? Any other board members? Mr. Ford?
If push comes to shove, can these guys work after hours and weekends to get it done? Is there any concerns about accessibility to the building to do that, to make that happen?
Just, the principal's coordination with the principal has been extremely well done. He has been extremely amenable to the contractor, so I don't see any issue with being able to have access.
Okay, thank you.
Any other board members? Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
The next one, Frank Thompson and Associates. Okay, consideration of approval of change order for HVAC replacement and upgrade project at HL Bourgeois. The committee recommends that the board approve and accept change order number 2 for the HVAC replacement and upgrade project at HL Bourgeois High School to increase contract time by 27 days from July 21, 2024 to August 17, 2024, and authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto. So move Dr. Trahan, second Mr. Lagarde. Public comments? Mr. Thompson, how are you, sir?
Yes, good evening. This project, we've been waiting on 3 air handlers for quite some time. delayed months. But finally, so we had to do a change order, no cost, to give us more time to allow the contractor to finish them. Luckily, the 2 out of the 3 have already arrived on site. They've installed them, they're doing ductwork, they should be finished with those. No serve the classrooms by the end of next week. Got news today that the last one for the auditorium has shipped, but it's coming from Mexico, so it may take, a week or so to get here. With everything in line, they're hoping to be finished with that one before the end of the month. So we should be able to do our final inspection and punch list and recommend substantial completion before the end of the month if everything, falls in line and no unforeseen issues with shipping.
Right, that's good news as well. Dr. Trahan?
No, sir.
Mr. Lagarde?
No, sir.
Any
Quick
other?
question.
Yes.
So the auditorium will have air?
Oh, yes,
So-
we have,
So we have air until, right?
correct. The classrooms, by the end of next week, will all have air. The auditorium has 2 units, and they'll swap it out. It will be in service before, kids come back, and we will have 1 or 2 units running regardless. Yes.
Good question. Mr. Ford?
So my question is the same as it was earlier for Mr. Utley, and that is, if need be, if push comes to shove, can you guys get in there after hours on weekends? And have you had any problems with accessibility to the building?
Oh, no problems whatsoever. They can absolutely work nights, weekends. Contractors committed to that. They really think that some of these classrooms, they'll be finished before the end of next week. So we can start turning them over so you can get the floors waxed and things of that nature. So they're committed to put whatever resources are on, that they have available.
Thank you.
Okay, good. Any other board members? Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you, sir. Number 12, Grant Wagasback. Consideration of approval for substantial completion of the roof repair project at Schriever Elementary School. The committee recommends that the board approve and accept the substantial completion dated July 2nd, 2024 for the roof repair project at Schriever Elementary School, subject to the punch list upon completion of the punch list and final inspection, balancing change order and receipt of the lien-free certificate. Authorize the release of retainage and further authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto. So move Dr. Trahan. Second, Mr. Lagarde. Public comments. Mr. Wagensback, how are you?
Good evening. Doing good. How are you?
Good, fantastic.
It's just,
Pretty much what we said,
straightforward.
huh?
Yeah.
Straightforward.
Y'all have any
Good.
questions? More than
Substantial completion, again, that's fantastic. Dr. Trahan?
No, sir.
Lagarde?
Sir.
Any other board members? Mr. Ford, you sure? All right. Again, good news. Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you. You're the next one, too. All right, 13, consideration of approval of substantial completion of the building repair project at Oak Lawn and Schriever Schools. The committee recommends that the board approve and accept the substantial completion dated July 15, 2024 for the building repair project at Oak Lawn Middle School and Schriever Elementary School, subject to the punch list upon completion of the punch list and final inspection. Balancing change order and receipt of the lien-free certificate, authorize the release of retainage, and further authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto. Moved by Dr. Trahan. Second, Mr. Lagarde. Public comments. Mr. Wagensback.
Once again, this is, substantial completion, but this is for the FEMA repairs. So
Okay.
there's still work going on outside of this contract. So just kind of, if you walk by
Right.
the FEMA stuff.
It's not completed.
The hurricane stuff
Okay.
is substantially complete.
Cafeteria ceiling's done?
Yes.
Yes.
Schriever, is that what we're talking about?
Schriever.
Yes, sir. When we were walking through yesterday, they were covering the last portion of the duct work. So, but the rest of it is done.
Good. Dr. Trahan?
No, sir.
Lagarde?
No, sir.
Anyone, any other board members? Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
14, Craig Abear. Consideration of approval for substantial completion of the building repair project at Elysian Fields Middle School. The committee recommends that the board approve and accept the substantial completion dated July 12, 2024 for the building repair project at Elysian Fields Middle School, subject to the punch list. Upon completion of the punch list and final inspection, balancing change order and receipt of the lien-free certificate, authorize the release of retainage, and further authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto. So move Dr. Traha, second Mr. Lagarde. Any public comments? Mr. Abear.
Good evening. So the base bid work that has, what's caused by Hurricane Ida has been completed. We also did some additional change order work for some additional roof damage that was detected. That's been completed. So we have a preliminary punch list issued to us by the general contractor. They're eagerly working on that. In fact, if everything goes well, they should be wrapped up with their own punch list items by tomorrow, and we will try and schedule our substantial completion meeting this week.
Fantastic. Some more good news. Dr. Traha? Mr. Lagarde?
No, sir.
Other board members? Mr. Ford?
This is more of a question for Bubba and you, I guess. If they get a substantial completion between now and the board meeting, is that going to go straight to the board, or do we still need to wait till the August committee meeting?
No.
I'm not following.
So he said that
They may be finished tomorrow,
anticipating
yeah.
the substantial completion.
No. Well, we've issued.
That's just punch list items, right?
Correct,
So
correct,
this is-
correct.
This, we'll take care of it at the August
Okay.
board meeting.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other board members? Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
15, Mr. Merlin Lerat. Consideration of approval of change order for the building repair project at South Terrebonne High School. The committee recommends that the board approve and accept change order number 1 for the building repair project at South Terrebonne High School in the amount of $654,160.55 to remove existing plaster, soffit, and insulation, abate asbestos in the piping, replace metal panel soffit and bat insulation, and increase the contract time by 60 days from June 21, 2025 to August 20, 2025. Funds to be derived from FEMA reimbursement funds, $588,744.50, and local funds, $65,416.05, and further authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto. So move Dr. Traha, second Mr. Lagarde. Public comments, Mr. Lerat.
All right, so you read in the motion what it entails, but what happened when the contractor got in there, and we have some piping and everything like underneath that plaster soffit that's existing on the underside of the area below the school. So once they had to cut holes in there and get in there to do some of their work, and when they started cutting these holes, they found asbestos that had not been, it wasn't visible to anybody, that had been put in there, I guess, at the beginning of the school. Some additional insulation that had a lot of mold in and things like that. So we had the contractor price it up 2 ways to go back with the original plaster ceiling. That number, you know, we see reflected in the change order, that number was $1,008,000 if we'd have went back with plaster. What we're proposing is a .040 aluminum panel, similar to what they have on the wall. That's an aluminum panel on the existing walls on the outside of the school. So they'll be screwed mechanically, fastened, so any access in the future needs to be, all they have to do is take down panels where they have to do the work at.
So exactly, is that like the breezeway? Is that
Yeah,
what we're talking about?
the whole area.
Good Lord.
We had, in the original base bid, we had shown about a 60-inch wide strip to the front and to the back that we were going to take down the existing stucco to replace the piping and things like that. And so part of the thing shows a credit for removing that and things of that sort. So, you know, and not having to do that work. So it's just, I mean, there's a lot of, And then some of that area is actually opened from airflow into the first floor level. So it's possible that the air conditioning system could suck that back into the school. So, you know, after we had the environmental consultants go in there and do a numerous amount of testings, they're the ones who came back basically with this recommendation that it needs to be replaced and removed. So,
Dr. Trahan? Mr. Lagarde? I always want to call you doctor. Why not? Ms. Benoit?
So has has FEMA approved the portion that they're paying already?
I'm not involved, I mean, I don't know that, I think it has to be submitted to them, I'm not exactly sure, Ms. Benoit.
Okay.
So FEMA has agreed to the damages that were initially put into the contract, not the change orders, but they are well aware that the way the water ran from the first floor to the second floor, that whole first floor was saturated, which is the main reason why we're having to get it to take out the insulation that was damaged, which with the mold. What we do is after the project obligated and these are approved, then we do a version request in which we have the reports from the environmental consultant with the test, and that is the backup that we will provide with them. So it's not at this point, we could do it until after kind of the work is done for
Okay,
that.
but you don't see any problems with it?
No.
Especially since the fact that we're doing not the original option of $1 million.
You're going with a lower
we're
cost
going below
alternative from what was
whatever
there
the original
before.
was, so.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, at times when we were walking underneath the building at the beginning of construction, when it would rain, I mean, it was like it was raining underneath that breezeway. That's how much water was still coming down through there, so.
Mr. Ford?
This may be a question for Adam, if anything, but you may be able to help us, Merlin. Does this require FEMA to recalculate that? You remember the initial percentage where they have to calculate to see repair, replace, or?
I don't think so. I think we're still gonna be underneath that initial 50%. I don't believe it comes into play.
No, and that is that request from the district to ask for that 50%. So if we do not move forward with that option,
Okay, so we
it's
would
never
have
brought
to.
up from them.
Okay, good. All right. Thank you.
Any other board members? The only thing, of course, I understand is progress. We're trying to get it done right and everything else. Just, I always hate seeing pushing the date back because I know we kind of, not promised, but we kind of had looked at school being back, everybody being back in school August of 2025. I think that's what that. Yes, that's
Yeah.
what that chart has said for many, many months.
Right.
But I know things can come up and happen, but we want to get it done right, absolutely, so we get it, but
It's gonna come down to what you just said, doing it right or
Yeah.
rushing through it and not.
Yeah, absolutely, so,
That's the decision we have, that we
I mean,
make with,
and yeah, it's not, it's
The
just.
environmental I mean, it all boils down to having that piece of paper at the end saying you're environmentally safe.
Absolutely, yeah, I get it, we get it, but it's just, you know,
it's gonna be tough.
pushing the date back. Okay, where am I? So, any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you, sir. Mr. Depository again. Consideration of approval of bids received for the South Terrebonne High School and Ellender Memorial High School softball field projects. The committee recommends that the board approve and accept the lowest bid received, meeting all specifications for the South Terrebonne High School and Ellender Memorial High School softball field projects from Thompson Construction Company, LLC, P.O. Box 187, Thibodaux, Louisiana, 70302, in the amount of $1,788,400. Establish a total project budget in the amount of $2,118,000, nope, I said that wrong. $2 million, did I say that right? 2 million, ooh, that's too much money. I'm struggling. $2,118,237. Funds to be derived from the building fund, and further authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto. So moved, Dr. Trahan. Second, Mr. Lagarde. Any public comments? Mr. Depository.
All right, good evening again. I think you have a copy of our recommendation letter in your packet, but just to kind of hit the high points, we received 3 bids for this project. And the project consists of 2 softball field complexes, one at South Terrebonne and one at Ellender. Both complexes are designed identically, what we call a skinned infield. Each field, obviously both 2 dugouts, a storage area, press box, and a separate concession stand. So identical amenities and design at each school. We received 3 bids. Of course, Thompson Construction was low. They, as you probably know, are the contractor at South Terrebonne, so they're already engaged in some projects for you. Our estimate for this project was 1.8 million, so all 3 numbers that we received are right there in our budget. We're comfortable with it. Our original recommendation indicated to accept Thompson subject to timely receipt of their post-bid documents, which we actually received the next day. So we have received all of the documentation that would be required to continue with their recommendation, and we do feel comfortable with Thompson.
So, and that's for both schools?
Yes, sir, that's a combination for both schools.
For that price, is that artificial turf?
It is not artificial turf, no.
Dang, it just seems like inflation.
I'll say there's some unique features at Ellender's site. We have to cross a large ditch, so there's a pedestrian bridge that's all included in the price,
So
yeah.
the location is gonna be on the VOTEC
Right.
property.
Right.
So, which is the only available space to really do it unless we wait 5 years. We wanna kind of do it. And it's really right adjacent to the baseball field, just across the ditch.
Correct.
So we have to get, and make an access.
Yeah, so we'll bridge, no pun intended, but bridge the gap with a pedestrian bridge, and there's another smaller bridge that we're adding to get to some nearby restrooms at the nearest building on the VOTEC campus site. So there's a little bit of uniqueness on that side, which of course adds to the cost of it, but again, it was right where our estimates, where we anticipated that it would come in, so.
I feel really about the space too. And then South Terrebonne one's gonna be like behind where the middle school's gonna be on that property back there. Almost adjacent to the stadium, maybe a little further to the front.
Correct. Yeah, as that driveway between the high school and the middle school goes toward the football field, it's just going to be right off to the left as you head toward the football field.
Dr. Trump?
Well, I'm just glad that we're moving along with those softball fields. Those teams have been displaced and been waiting, almost 3 years now.
Yes, ma'am.
Speaking of
And
that timeline, Andy?
Yeah, I was going to say, to that point, the timeline will be, assuming it get approved tonight and the August board meeting, I would anticipate having contracts signed and construction started, notice to proceed early. That would put us at early September. We're hoping by January. We have 120 days, which is a little aggressive. And so what we'll do with Thompson is we'll talk about kind of a critical phasing of project. And so at least the goal would be to get the fields done, the fences done, and the dugouts first. So that if there is some unfinished work, it wouldn't affect, the game plan would be not to affect the games and the practices starting in the spring. So that's our ideal schedule at this point.
Mr. LaGarde? Mr. Ford?
I know you mentioned the restrooms at the VOTEC, but, so there's no restrooms that's gonna be built in with the fields, correct?
No, sir. At South Terrebonne, they're going to utilize the stadium, thank you, and at Ellender, they'll utilize the closest building at VOTEC. And that was really just to try to keep the cost down while still.
What about lights on the field?
We do not have lights.
Okay, so I'm just making sure because I know some of the other schools, they don't have them either, and that, this would
Correct.
kind of.
God forbid.
Yeah,
We
exactly.
tried to keep the 3 high schools, the third one, of course, being the new field at Terrebonne.
Yes.
Similar.
Okay.
As similar as we could.
Sounds good, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Crowdis?
If you want to drive up the cost of a baseball or softball field, put lights on.
That's right.
And a bunch of plumbing.
Yeah. One thing I didn't hear you mention in the plans was batting cages.
We do not have batting cages in there as well.
Is that something that we can consider? I mean, I don't want to give my wife any kind of good competition. When you.
I think we can address that maybe after or soon thereafter. We could
Just a suggestion.
That's a great idea.
I mean, if you're building a field, you got to have somewhere for your teams to warm up. Batting cage. It's not really that much more expensive. I mean, you might add another 15. Well, you might add another couple, $2,000-3,000 to each project with a batting cage. Doesn't have to be covered or anything, but if y'all don't want to, that's fine. We got a batting cage, that's very Christian.
Tell you what, for that price, I think they should throw it in for, no problem, just work it in there. We need to negotiate.
As they say in construction, there's no problem that money can't solve.
Yeah, right. Mr. Ford?
Just to kind of echo what Mr. Crowder said, I had already talked to Bubba about this. Terrebonne is needing some repairs and some completion to their batting cage. So I'm hoping that when that property that we put up for bid, when it gets purchased, I'm hoping that we can take some of those funds and do that for all 4 of the high schools. So that was one of the things that I was going to suggest. So I was already on top of that, but appreciate you looking out.
Good. Any other board members? Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes.
Thank you.
I think you're on the last one too, or the next one, maybe not the last one. Number 17, consideration of approval of change order for the Terrebonne High School softball field project. The committee recommends that the board approve and accept change order number 1 for the Terrebonne High School softball field project in the amount of $3,567.88 at 200 amp single phase electrical panel on the backside of the third base dugout, and increase contract time by 30 days from June 23, 2024 to July 23, 2024. Funds to be derived from the Buildings Fund, and further authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto. So move Dr. Trahan, second Mr. Lagarde. Public comments. Mr. Positeri.
Yeah, this change came up actually, I think, at the request of Mr. Poisson. We originally had power that was feeding the new scoreboard and no other power at the dugouts or anything like that. And so just on further conversation with the contractor, we identified a closer source to pull power from. It's one of these while we're at it, right? Let's add a small panel so that the dugouts can have some power, just convenience outlets. And it also allowed us to, part of this cost is actually a little bit of a credit to reroute the power to the scoreboard from a closer location. So it's an overall improvement to that to that field.
Yep. Okay. And, Dr. Trahan? Nope. Mr. Lagarde?
No, sir.
Other board members? Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. And you are on the last one. You're going to close us out, huh? Number 18, consideration of approval of change order for the building repair project at H.L. Bourgeois. The committee recommends that the board approve and accept change order number 7 for the building repair project at H.L. Bourgeois High School in response to Hurricane Ida in the amount of $3,946.51. Proclamate an installation of one new 200 amp sub panel installed adjacent to the existing power panel to provide the additional circuitry needed to accommodate the new auditorium lighting requirements. Funds to be derived from FEMA reimbursement funds, $3,551.86, and local funds, $394.65. And further authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto. So move Dr. Trahan, second Mr. Lagarde. Public comments. Mr. Positeri.
Okay, this change order came up, if you recall, the auditorium lighting replacement was a change order late in the project. They're jumping off of the original electrical panel that's back in that stage. There's not enough circuits to run the new controller for the lighting system. And so the contractor, in fact, the contractor, we'll back up a minute. If you remember a couple of months ago, y'all approved a play to take place on August 4th at this stage.
Yes.
And so the contractor, I had informed the contractor of that. So they actually went ahead and proactively ordered this panel and got it in place. So it's actually going to be installed tomorrow. And I know that's unorthodox, but the reason is because we know that play was coming up and we wanted to make sure that the auditorium lighting would be ready. So, but it's the result of the existing electrical panel not having enough capacity. And so we're just adding another smaller panel to be able to make that connection.
Okay, good. Dr. Trahan?
No, sir.
Mr. Lagarde?
No, sir.
Other board members? Mr. Ford? I'm sorry, you'll go right after. Yep.
So the panel is going to be in addition to the original panel. It's not one unit that's going to combine all the.
That's correct. It's gonna sit, in fact, it's gonna be mounted right adjacent to the
Adjacent to,
original
okay.
panel, yeah. So there'll just
Now-
be some feeders coming out of that one into this new panel to be able to provide the additional circuits that are needed.
Having experience with that panel in particular and the ones at other high schools, can we make sure someone labels them precisely what each one is? Because that's always been a struggle.
They may have, and I say they may have, I know I had some photographs of, prior to that, it looked like a bowl of spaghetti of wiring that
Yes.
was there. They've since cleaned all that up too. I think they did, but I'll confirm that for
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Mr. Ogeron.
Matt, to your comment, comments throughout this whole process about silver lining, this is one of them.
Yeah.
Brand new lighting system because of a damage, and we get an upgrade.
Absolutely.
Like I said, state of the art, but brand new. I mean, it's quite a few dollars.
Right.
Anyway, good.
It should be completed, I believe tomorrow is the completion date. They actually have set up January 30th as some training for maintenance staff here as well as the school staff, so that ball is certainly rolling.
Dr. Cloche?
Yes, we're talking about labeling the panel. Is there a way that we could have a paper copy showing the panel and what each circuit goes to, so we can keep that in a secure location, so if the labels fall off, we still know what the panel?
I can certainly double check.
All right, thank you.
Good. Any other board members? Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Depositary.
Thank you.
Number 19, matter bearing upon update of Hurricane Ida response. Mr. Gary Beer.
Good evening. We'll start off with HLB, as Andy was just, going through a couple of the stages. I'm gonna have to correct him. The electrical panel, sub-panel, has already been installed. Circuits have been landed, everything's good to go. AV Solutions discovered they had a bad relay. Last week, they've ordered it. It'll be in place tomorrow, which will finish up the auditorium lighting. So that'll be completed with the July 30th, 31st training date, which has been coordinated between the principal and Sammy's office. So that one will be done and out of everybody's hair. The South Terrebonne High School, yes,
For
we
the
had
bad
that.
news.
Yeah, we had that little bit of hiccup, but it's for the better. So, and as we all stated, do it right or run into risks. So y'all are making the correct decision on that one. But the roof work is continuing on the main facility. They are about 90% complete with all the demo and put back, minus the final cap. They started on the auditorium roof yesterday, continued with it today, and will continue, weather permitting, as they go, while maintaining the existing TPO temporary to maintain the water tightness of that facility so that there no more water comes in. The choir building has started as well. The contractor has been in there framing up the walls, installing sheetrock to the deck so that the fire rating can be completed correctly. Electricians have been in there. They've been they've been running conduit, EMT, flex conduit, boxes. So they're making progress inside the building and pushing forward with everything they can. So.
Good. Well, that's just informational. Any questions, Dr.
No,
Trump?
I'm just sitting here, being thankful that Barrow went to Texas. And
Yeah.
that my favorite weather forecaster says that we're good for the rest of the month of July because of the Saharan dust. So that leaves me August to worry about.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Good point. Mr. Lagarde? Anything? Any other board members?
Don't talk.
Okay.
Thanksgiving.
Thank you,
Thank you.
sir. All right. 20, matter bearing upon update of local projects and ESSER construction projects. I think we've covered, unless there's anybody who.
I know we're kind of going along. I'd like Craig to maybe give an update on Ellender.
Okay,
if you
okay,
can.
fantastic. Ellender.
Good evening. So we are in the final stages of our review, dotting the i's and crossing the t's, and there's a lot of i's and t's to cross here. But we anticipate releasing those set of documents by the end of this week, early part of.
And Craig, so, that's the demolition document. You didn't say that when, that's what you're talking about, correct?
Yes, the
Okay,
demolition.
all right.
In which the contractor will have approximately 300 days, once the date of notice to proceed is given, to completely take it down and simultaneously rebuild the site and prep it for the new building that's going to go in. Simultaneously, we've started with some of our programming based on conversations we've had with administration. We're working on a programming booklet now regarding classrooms, some things we saw with home ec to get a basis of where we're going to start in some of our conversations with the design of the new school. So right now, the demolition is first and foremost. We're also trying to help resolve a little issue that's developed with some security, some perimeter lighting on one side of the campus. So we're going to be looking at that as well in the next couple of days. But otherwise, we're very close to getting it out.
Can I add something? So just real quick, so 300 days to demolish that building, give or take, let's say even 200. That would never happen in the summer. So it's gonna have to happen simultaneously to school being in session. So safety, safeguards are being put into place with perimeter fencing and all of these safeguards and with a location of move. I'm saying what you told them, yeah, that's all I'm doing, but we need to know that.
Okay, so
that has been looked at, because parents are asking already kind of that kind of question, and rightly so.
What we're very fortunate about with Ellender is basically you have 3 entrances to the campus. You have the student side or general public, you have the main school body where buses and parents would drop off, and you have the faculty side, which the way the security compound we're going to build around this thing is going to envelope that site is we're going to be able to restrict the contractor to that main drive in front, which actually is the most beneficial. That way we can maintain all student access to the sides and faculty access to the other side beyond the security fencing we're going to have up. The main drive in the front we're trying to preserve as part of the future design. We understand that we will probably experience some damage caused by the demolition. So we'll make those corrections and repairs later on when we do the final build out. But it should work very seamlessly to not have any conflicts with administration, students, and the school during the school year.
Dr. Trump?
That's good to hear. Do we have an estimate of when we're going to start seeing the old building come down?
I'm hoping within the next 45 days we'll be having a contractor mobilize on site.
Really, that soon?
Possibly, yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ford?
Does the demob company, the contractor, they get paid the same amount if they do it in 300 days versus 250 days? They get paid for the contract, right? It doesn't matter. So,
Contract's the contract, yes, sir.
So it would behoove them to do it in a lesser period, right? Because they may be paying day rates and stuff like that. So maybe we can encourage them to get it done a little bit earlier than 300 days? Or?
So what we're basing the 300 days on is the fact that we use what Houston had done and we use what Maryland had done. Both of those contracts were 150 days. Ellender is, in some cases, 6 times the size of either of those schools. We doubled the time, so we really are incentivizing him. The demolition of the school itself is going to be more strategic than it will be complicated, simply because of the ongoing activities on campus. We identified that. Where Ellender's going to take time is the foundation. The excavation, the removal, the cutting of all the piles, and then backfilling, which it's a very large site.
How many piles are you looking at? Just to give an idea.
Approximately 2,000.
2,000 piles.
So we're going to be unearthing 178,000 square feet of school 7 feet down. and then we have to fill that swimming pool.
You'll use dynamite?
We'd like to, but no, not prohibited. So that's really what we anticipate is going to be the crutch of a lot of the time. The school's going to take time, obviously, because it needs to be carefully done and in a safe way for the workers. But it's the site conditions itself, because unlike the other two schools, we have 100% of Ellender going back on top of this. So we need to make sure that the soils we go back with are cohesive to what's there. And so there's a lot of moving factors in it.
And if I can, and I think the thing that the demolition time is not going to influence the amount of time for design. So the design will go beyond the demolition time. So even if they do it earlier, he's still going to be in design. So it wouldn't speed up the building or the hiring of the contractor to do the bid, if I'm correct.
Correct, and that's
so
why
he's
I
going to
made,
start working as he is already on the design right now.
That's why I made the point what I did earlier with the programming, because I think if we can start.
That's some terminology we're not familiar, at least not. The programming is just kind of like how many classrooms and all that stuff that goes into the design.
In addition to classroom requirements, size of classroom, number of students, and it's all those differentials. We've seen some really inspiring buildings as we've toured some of the other high schools in the state, and so how do we incorporate those? There were things I know that superintendent liked and didn't, and so we're looking at that now, like I said, to present to administration for a basis of design, okay? Once we know how all the little pieces will be designed, we can start compiling them together and what we think the final product will look like. But we do have some conceptuals that we have been playing with, but right now my focus is dotting I's, crossing T's on the demo. It's a lot, and getting this programming stuff started so we can actually sit down and start looking at something tangible.
Dr. Cloutier?
Yes, you kind of alluded to this earlier, but I just wanted to just go over it again in my mind. As part of the demolition, you not only have to take it down, but you have to haul it off.
Yes, sir.
And you're using the main entrance. So as you use that main entrance for that, I have a feeling it's going to probably be a detriment to some of the road there, hauling with heavy equipment, dump trucks, pulling that stuff out. Are the people who are doing the demolition, are they going to be responsible for fixing that back once they've completed? Or is that something we've got to take care of too?
The road adjacent Patriot Drive specifically?
Well, you said that there's 3 entrances, right?
Yes, sir.
There's the student, there's the faculty, and there's the main entrance. And you said all contractors are going to be going through the main entrance.
That's correct.
And so what my thought is that road's going to take a lot of wear and tear
We-
with bulldozers and dump trucks and whatnot.
And we anticipate that.
Okay.
And part of the saving grace of what we're doing and where everything currently is right now is the fact that the way the school is currently laid out, that front area is the largest component of any of the access into the campus. It's going to afford us staging, storage of materials and dumpsters, so everything should be able to be moved, loaded in a very orderly manner, primarily not to affect any of the occupants using the temporary campus or that baseball field. So,
I guess what I'm worried about is the infrastructure, the actual asphalt, cement, whatever, of that road.
Oh, we're anticipating we will probably make a lot of repairs there
Okay.
in the final design. That's not, yeah.
Okay, so
We're
that'll come at the
anticipating.
end, the final design, then that road will be resurfaced as necessary.
Pending the design of the future school, it may completely come out at some point.
Oh,
But
really?
yes,
Okay.
regardless,
All right. Okay.
if it stays intact, which is our goal for now, any repairs we have to make, we will make.
So question, thinking about what you're saying, in the front of the school, how's that gonna affect VOTEC?
It should not affect them at all.
The road still should be cleared to Votech, just be that inside drive.
This is that front drive.
Right,
where
I
the
understand, I
buses
got the
unload
picture,
and
but I'm
load.
seeing that road that goes all the way to Votech, that's not gonna affect Votech at all.
That's
Or
right.
TCT.
It shouldn't, but we have to obviously
Yeah.
stay on top of that. But it's-
Right.
There may be some travel back and forth when they're, if they're moving in stages and stuff and removing debris from the site. But as far as the capacity of doing the demolition and all that, there's a lot of room in this area. It really benefits the contractor.
Yeah.
He's not limited. He's got a lot of space. As long as he can maintain his secure perimeter, he really, this is almost an ideal situation for him.
Very good, okay, thank you. Mr. DeHart?
Yes. Mr. Avery, I know it's kind of early, and I'm being proactive about a couple of your comments, which I understand.
Yes, sir.
Whenever you're constructing a new school, I know you mentioned about population, classroom size, and all of that.
Yes, sir.
But we've had a drop in population parish-wide. So I just want to make sure we're not going to have to add portable buildings after this. And my concern is, right now, I know it's a huge building.
Yes, sir.
And I understand how many pilings you got, because I've seen, demolitions before. And all I'm saying is that, is there any thought, and it's not just about the cost, but whether it's a two-story building or one big old mass building like we have now, and any of that ever came up in any meetings or discussions? And I'm not saying you chose that, but what are you looking at? Because I don't want to make a school too small, especially a high school.
No. So as of right now, I think the enrollment at Ellender is around 750.
Eight-ish, yeah.
We're planning for an occupancy of 1,000.
That's good.
Which is, I think, a reduction of what the current school is designed to.
Yes, sir.
What we're looking at, and why I believe that the early stages of programming, which is where we really learn the logistics of the facility,
Right.
are so critical, is based on our conversations that we've had over the last couple of months. Whatever space that we don't apply to places we don't need anymore, or the school system is not doing, we're wanting to allocate to different areas. So we may be able to add more space to biology labs. We may be able to add more space to just storage for books and stuff like that. We're looking to compress and condense a lot of things. Ellender is, while it was a great school and it had everything, Ellender has a lot of square footage that we're hoping to be able to constrict a bit so that we have simultaneous functions happening but using the same spaces. What I mean by that, one of the early concepts we had discussed with administration was the possibility of locating the theater and the gymnasium to one side of the structure, which would allow us the ability, one, to create the school in a zoned process. What I mean by that is that would give you what we'll call a public zone, a semi-public, and then a private zone. Private zones being classroom spaces. I think as it's been discussed before, my son's teams have played at Ellender many times, never won anything, but we went, and you could wander throughout the entire school because there was no barrier between what was open in the evenings to the entirety of the place. We're looking to limit that and prevent that moving forward. What really is controlling the footprint of the new design is not so much the existing structure, while that is in itself creating some issues. It's the inundation of the new FEMA flood maps, because it's restricted our footprint. We've lost approximately, to the backside of the existing school, about 65, 70 feet, and to the south side of the school, about 50 feet. So it has compressed our footprint. In addition, it will probably lead us to having a second story component in portions of the school. The Other aspects of what we're looking at is the possibility, and it's an idea we floated to administration, is because of security necessities for security, is creating an internal courtyard that the student population can go out during the day, utilize that space. Maybe it's a learning environment as well, which might actually spread the campus out a little bit more within those new boundaries that we have. Because based on the new FEMA flood maps, believe it or not, it actually comes up to the front sidewalk of the school. So it's there. And we're very obvious, we're noticing it. So we're trying to offset that by potentially elevating the school a little bit higher, not much, but natural grade, and then introducing a second story component to a portion of it.
Yes, sir, and I appreciate all of that information, but I'm just going to say one more comment.
Okay.
Whenever population shifted, we had to add 13 portable buildings at Mulberry. That's before the new addition, okay?
Yes, sir.
Before the new school. But what I'm saying to you, that had to happen over a summer. And all I'm saying to you, the modular buildings is a cancer for this school system. The maintenance and upkeep and putting kids going to and from, you got all kind of canopies and stuff. I want to build a school big enough to handle a little growth. Every school we build, we always try and look at that in the past. So hope this board, staff, and all of us working together get something that's not too small because of almighty dollar, because it's cost more for those portable buildings that increases the cost with all of this maintenance. And it's not just because of hurricane damage, it's just that the maintenance. We got some brand new ones that, at that same school, we had to fix the floors 3 or 4 times. I'm just saying, it was junk. You want something cheap? Get your
No,
monkey. No, I'm
and
saying.
I understand your question, Mr.
Well,
DeHart. I just
that's my
right
concern.
now, in the early stages that we're in, that's kind of how the program is defining itself for basically a design and a population of 1,000 students.
Yes. And like I say, even Southdown, whenever we built it, we had room for expansion. So we've never had any need for modular buildings. That's my main point. Modular buildings, if you propose some modular buildings, I'm not voting for that. I can guarantee you that.
Well, I
Any
sure, I don't
architect-
want to design that. No,
Any
sir.
architect, I'm just saying, build a school big enough, but not say for double the capacity, but make sure you got some breathing room for expansion, because we will have kids going, coming and go. Because the Grand Cobb Middle School, whenever we built it, and just another example, it's been accommodating the population. We took that kind of criteria to make sure, and we never had to add no modular buildings, thank God, so far. So I'm just hoping we can keep that trend on any schools we build in Terrebonne Parish. Thank you.
I'll do my part, sir.
I know you will. Thank you.
Okay. Come on, Mr. Ford, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to say something 10 minutes ago, but.
I missed the beard,
I
Mr.
talked too
Ford.
much on that. I'm sorry.
So let's be honest, the road in front of the school is already substandard, so any repairs that end up getting done to it is gonna be an improvement. But I just wanna encourage you guys to, there is the 3 entrances. There's the first entrance you come up to, the main entrance, and then the student entrance, right? I would like to eliminate that middle entrance. I would like to have a facade of Ellender to where you either go one or the other entrance, but you can actually, take a picture, make it picturesque. Because I think that's what's missing with a lot of our schools. Terrebonne has that. There's nothing in the way of the front of the school. If you wanted to go take a picture of Terrebonne High School and get the silhouette or just the whole facade of it, you can do that. Can't really do that at H.L. Bourgeois. You can't really do that at South Terrebonne because the latest construction right there in front of the school. I would like to have, it's not a main thoroughfare right there, but I would like it to look nice when they drive up. So if you guys can, work it into it. I mean, it's just my opinion. Yes, do the 2 stories, utilize that space a little better, but also maybe eliminate that front entrance to where you actually just have a nice facade for, for people that are coming to the school. Maybe have never been there. I just think it would be a better utilization of that space, and you can get just as much out of those 2 side entrances as you can with 3, so.
I think from a circulation point of view, though, that front drive, and again, everything is still on the table, obviously. But I think what really works with the circulation of that space is at no time with faculty, student, and/or the bus, is there any conflict other than maybe one bus trying to piggyback or jump in front of another one or something? But again, the final design is going to reshape probably a lot of it. Right now, we're choosing to keep it in place because it benefits us. More importantly, because it doesn't impede anything that happens during the demolition and potential construction as well.
Maybe just to be a little more clear, the drive and through the U around it is nice, but the actual parking, I think, is what I'm really talking about. And since you're gonna be losing some of that space on the south side anyway, then maybe that can become more parking, additional parking, you know, to accommodate. So that's what I was thinking.
I can assure you at this point, Mr. Ford, nothing has been taken off the table. We're excited about getting a clean slate, and hopefully we do something to impress all of you.
Thank you.
All right. Good? Thank you, sir.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
all that.
Y'all have a nice evening.
You too.
Thank you, Fred.
And finally, Mr. Poisson.
All right, I have a few things just want to run over real quick. Take me about an hour. Some updates on some of the schools, just to let y'all know about. Starting with Acadian, right now we have a project going on. It's in progress. It's the security fencing at Broadmoor, designing a bus loop over there to get the people off the road, trying to get that, that's in the design. I'm sorry?
I think it means Bayou. Koto.
Did I?
You said Broadmoor, you mean Coach. Or am I missing something?
That was Broadmoor. It was a bus loop.
Bus loop, okay. A fencing
We just
project.
right,
Oh,
right.
a fencing project, okay, got it. A fencing project around the bus loop, my bad.
The HVAC system over there is complete. Caldwell, security fencing also is in the designing stage. Koto, HVAC in the cafeteria and kitchen is complete. Working with, in the design stage now with the engineers of putting the whole school with new AC. That's where we have the parent drive going around, get everybody off the road. Dayville site, sale of property, that's complete, it's gone. Dularge, the old Dularge, the appraisal part of that, it's in progress. I think it is.
It's done.
It's done.
Yes.
HVAC at the new school, that's done, it's complete. Ellender, softball fields, y'all heard that, it's out for bids. Legion Fields, HVAC, that's complete. Evergreen, security fencing's in the design stage. H.L. Bourgeois, security fencing in design. HVAC on that, y'all heard about where that was. We are just about done with that. Spectator gym, y'all met the architect tonight on that. Honduras is in progress, declares surplus, get quotes from the appraisers, portables, that comes back to us. Home Junior High, interior painting, that's in progress, it's about done. It looks real good in there, I don't know if y'all have been in it. The lighting's done, the ceiling's done. When you walk in that school, it looks like a totally different school. It's new floors, new lighting, ceiling tile, looks real good. Legion Park, painting of it inside and outside is in planning right now. Windows is complete, HVAC's complete. Lisa Park, security fencing's in design, Montague, front entries in design, and Mulberry, portables, we're waiting on, it's in progress, trying to get rid of those things. Oak Lawn, y'all heard those, all that's, vestibule's in progress, the windows, HVAC is on schedule, it's done. Oakshire, security fencing in the planning stages. South Terrebonne softball, y'all heard about that, it's out for bids. Terrebonne's, same with the softball field there. The renovations are in design, and the sale of properties in progress, the old baseball field, waiting on the final sale that Matt spoke about earlier. Central office, board tech rooms complete. Warehouse generator, we're just waiting on equipment to come in for that. That'll be a little while. And we had 196 work orders created, completed about 70 of those. And that's about it. Any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Poisson? No?
But I do think we should do a little tour of some of the, you know, when we have a chance, check out some of the
Yeah.
buildings that he mentioned, from Acadian to Oak Lawn to Homer Junior High.
Homer Junior High, yeah.
Dularge looks like a new school. I mean, you walk through there.
The bus and go right around.
And the paint job is excellent.
Yeah, paint job's good, the lighting in there too, the floors, it looks really good. They're coming around. We're getting good-looking schools.
So, Mr. Ocheron, why don't you set up a party bus? And we're gonna go look at all them schools. Y'all wanna come?
That sounds like a good idea.
Mr. Breeze can,
It's a great idea.
You woke up the fellas in the back.
Yeah, they like that too. Might as well. We get Tyrone to drive the bus. All right, but anyway, seriously, that's a good idea, though,
That's a
really.
great idea.
You like the party bus,
like
yeah?
it.
Yeah.
Mr. Sammy gonna drive.
The school bus?
Oh, no, we don't want
I don't
Mr.
have a
Sammy.
CDL.
We ain't gonna tell them.
Oh, you want the
I
party
don't want a
bus?
school bus, we want a
I can
party
get that.
bus.
We can get a real party bus.
All right, very good, thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Sammy, appreciate it.
Y'all have a good evening.
No further business to come in front of the BFT, the meeting is adjourned.